Greenhouse gas emissions. The air around us sustains life, providing the oxygen we breathe and regulating our planet's temperature. But hidden within the air are greenhouse gases, an invisible force that's reshaping our climate in ways we can no longer ignore. Greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide act like a blanket around our planet. They trap heat from the sun, keeping the Earth warm enough to sustain life. But human activities, like burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial production, have thickened this blanket. More heat is being trapped than our planet can handle, leading to rising global temperatures, extreme weather events, food insecurity, and disrupted ecosystems. The question is no longer whether we should reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but how we can do it. Companies and industry are major contributors to global emissions. That's why they have a crucial role to play in addressing climate change. At Heus, we are fully committed to tackling the emissions produced in our supply chain. But to reduce our impact, we must first understand where our emissions come from. This is where the Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions framework comes in, a globally recognized method for measuring and managing corporate carbon footprints. Scope 1 emissions are direct emissions from our own operations like feed factories and operational processes. Scope 2 emissions are indirect emissions from purchased energy. To lower Scope 2 emissions, we must reduce dependence on fossil fuels and transition to renewable energy sources. Scope 3 emissions are the biggest challenge. They cover emissions from our suppliers, sourced raw materials, transportation, and even the use of our products by farmers. Reducing Scope 3 emissions requires strong collaboration across our value chain. At Heus, we are dedicated to achieving the following goals: reducing our Scope 1 and 2 emissions by 42% by 2030, cutting Scope 3 emissions from purchased raw materials by 30.3% by 2030, and reducing Scope 3 emissions from sources other than raw materials by 25% by 2030. Climate change is a significant challenge, but it's also an opportunity to power progress and drive meaningful change. By acting now, we can create a more sustainable future for farmers, for our value chain, and for future generations.